my loves, let's share some more cooking inspiration. I have been getting so many requests for easy cooking, so today I'm going to share with you 3 pasta recipes that take just about 10 minutes each to put together. You can use any pasta that you have available in your pantry. So for these recipes, I have got some long pasta, I've got fettuccine, but spaghetti is just as good. And then I've also boiled some elbows, which is quite similar to macaroni. And this is penne, which is my absolute favorite pasta, because any sauce you put in not only coats the penne, but also gets trapped in the hollow, giving it what I call double flavor. Now let's get started with the baked penne. The ingredients are just tomato and chili sauces and anything else that you want to throw in. So what I have here are some bell peppers in mixed colors. This is what I call traffic lights, red, yellow, and green. And then I've got some ham and some mushrooms. I have cubed all these ingredients for fast cooking, and I also have some diced onions and garlic. And oh yes, I always use some sort of cheese in any and every pasta I cook. So just saute the onions and garlic, and then add in the chopped peppers. Once those are slightly softened, then you can add in the mushrooms. Now I allow the whole thing to soften in the heat, and then in goes the pasta and the sauces. So this chili sauce that I'm using is called Lingham's chili sauce, and it has a slightly tangy and sweet flavor, so it balances the flavor very well. You can of course use a wee bit of sugar if you're just using plain chili sauce. This dish usually does not require any additional seasoning, but do check and adjust as needed. That's it. So you can have it as it is, or you can choose to bake it. To bake it, just transfer it into an oven-safe bowl, sprinkle some grated cheese, and pop it in the oven for a few minutes, just until the cheese melts. And it's ready to serve. The second recipe is a marinara sauce pasta. You will need a can of stewed tomatoes. You can, of course, use fresh tomatoes, but I find these so much easier, more readily available, especially at this point of time. And honestly, the sauce is tastier this way. So I would go for the canned option. And once again, I use onions and garlic, and then I'm going to use one of my basil cubes from the freezer. Now this is a perfect example of why we should freeze fresh herbs when we have them available. But if you don't have any on hand, just use dried basil, or even an Italian blend will work just fine. I'm also using a grated carrot just to add some vegetables into the sauce. Now, most marinara recipes don't use any veggies, but I prefer to have some veggies with every meal. And if you have younger kids, hidden veggies can be an easy way to get some in. I'm just adding a bit of oil for now, and I'm going to add 2 bruised bird's eye chilies. I like to have a little bit of heat in my sauce, but this is absolutely optional. Once that has a few minutes to infuse, add in the basil, which has been frozen in olive oil, and that's going to add the necessary extra oil that you need for this sauce. Then you're going to add in your diced onions and garlic, and once that is softened, in go the carrots. A little trick is to just use a pair of scissors and cut them in the can itself. Now these are all chopped, and as you can see how big the tomatoes actually are. Add some pasta water into the can and then into the pot. This starch will help the sauce to stick to the pasta. Season with salt and pepper. If you choose not to use carrots, then you can add 2 teaspoons of brown sugar, but since carrots add a natural sweetness, I won't be using any sugar. Allow to simmer for about 20 minutes on a medium-low heat. Now transfer the chunky sauce into a food processor and blitz until smooth. Get the smooth sauce back into the pot and combine with the pasta. Another dish done. To serve this, I have some popcorn chicken my son made earlier and some shaved Parmesan cheese. Now this is a very healthy, balanced meal put together in no time at all. The next one is mac and cheese. Everyone loves mac and cheese, and everyone has a version of mac and cheese. Well, what we're going to make today is my version. The ingredients are flour, milk, and cheese, and I use fresh onions and garlic, finely diced, but you can use onion and garlic powder if you prefer. Add some olive oil and butter into your pan, and as you can see, the onions are diced much thinner and smaller than the earlier recipes. And then in goes the garlic, also diced smaller, 2 tablespoons of flour, and you're going to cook and switch off the flame. By switching off the flame, it's going to give you some extra time to ensure that there are no lumps before it begins to thicken. I use a flat whisk to take out any lumps that there might be. Season with salt and white pepper and then add the cheese. Then allow this to thicken slightly. Combine with the pasta and use evaporated milk to loosen and keep the sauce creamy. You can eat it as it is, or again, you can bake it. To bake it, mix some breadcrumbs with some melted butter until the breadcrumbs are moistened. Sprinkle these on top and bake for 12 to 15 minutes until the edges are bubbly. I would usually add crumbled bacon to this mixture, but those are treats for better days. Now I have one more recipe here which I shared the photograph of on Instagram. I did not make a video on this one, unfortunately, but the full recipe is available on my blog, and I have to tell you, it is absolutely delicious as well. I love meals like this which are quick to prepare but reach the mark of being delicious. What I have shown you today is the basic recipe with the minimum ingredients, and I have added a little bit of whatever I have on hand to give you some additional ideas. I will, however, leave you the complete recipe on my blog with all the optional ingredients that will up these to gourmet dishes. These are all versatile dishes that can be as simple or as decadent as you want. Well, my loves, I hope you will enjoy trying out these recipes. This is indeed a very stressful time in our lives, but let's keep positive, let's keep motivated, and this too shall pass. This is Raveena saying, stay indoors and be safe.